Hi there. The full details were just released for the Game of Thrones Season 8 Blu-ray set, which is coming out in just a few days, and it is noticeably sparse, particularly that in terms of the episode commentary tracks, hardly any of the starring cast members came back to do them. That noticeably core cast members who used to consistently do episode commentaries even through season 7 have not returned for the season 8 set. That it really seems like they have washed their hands of it. That one or two is, random chance of scheduling, that this many of them, and that even in terms of just, okay, we're buying stuff, it isn't that much of a draw. That it is, why would I theoretically want this if it's Kit Harington isn't in it, Peter Dinklage isn't in it, people who were doing these through season 7. Well, in terms of the cast, if you haven't heard this already, they have starring cast, which is almost 30 people, but one of the things they set up in season 5 was to define, okay, the core cast out of such a big ensemble is 7 people, which they call Tier A by pay grade. It actually makes sense. It's actually the characters who have the most POV chapters in the books anyway. It's the Stark siblings plus the Lannister siblings plus Daenerys is a good way to remember it. And people who were doing them in prior years did not come for this. That Peter Dinklage, Tyrion, used to do these. I remember Lena Headey doing these in season 7. She did the finale with Benioff and Weiss, and suddenly she's nowhere to be found. And even Sophie Turner and Maisie Williams, Sansa and Arya, noticeably did not come back for this. You'd think Maisie Williams would think she was pampered by them, given how much they were shilling her character. She did not come back for this. And the thing I note bitterly about that is, and I said this on Twitter when it came out, it means the writers can't hide behind their fame anymore. And my exact words were, they can't hide behind Maisie beatboxing anymore. I'm sorry, it's infamously when these sets were really good in the past, and at the end of season 1, in the season 1 Blu-rays, the Stark kids, who, they were little children at the time, when they recorded their Blu-ray commentary, they beatboxed the opening theme, I can't do it the way they did. Just, it was cute as hell. Everyone has seen it. And the thing that was like a slap in the face to me was when I was actually listening to the one Brian Cogman recorded for episode 6 of season 5, the Sansa rape episode. It ends with her being raped. And he recorded that with Maisie Williams, and it's how much of a weak coward he is. Just, he did not even stand by. He was noticeably panicking in his commentary that after it was happening, oh man, this is so dark. Maisie, can you beatbox us off to lighten the mood? Remember how great we were in season 1? It was what it felt like, that he asked Maisie, wow, this is a really dark and not a great commentary, and I didn't really answer the questions. It felt that way. I know it's not what he really said. Just, Maisie, do that beatbox thing you were famous for. It's like, it felt like, remember when you were watching season 8 and they'd quote things from season 1, and instead of being a fun callback, it felt like them desperately trying to reclaim their old popularity, which had worn out its welcome long ago. That, honeycomb in a brothel, the thing, it's, dude, you're just reciting your old catchphrases. So it felt like that to disarm us, in like the season 5 Blu-ray commentary, they'd have Maisie being cute. Like, even not the Sansa rape stuff. During the Dorne stuff, Maisie openly mocks people who were criticizing the Dorne stuff, only to belatedly say, actually, I've never seen this on screen. I've only heard people criticizing it. Because when you're an actor, this is the first time she was watching the finished episode. That you could always rely on Maisie and Sophie to be good little brainwashed troopers for them and defend them in live panel interviews through this year when noticeably people are avoiding public appearances. That in the commentary tracks, they can't hide behind Maisie and Sophie anymore. They did not bother to show up. Nor should they have. I think it was good on them. Look, this is on you. So what exactly did we get? And it wasn't just that the core 7 aren't there and that, wow, why would I buy this? Like, Kit Harington isn't in it. Peter Dinklage isn't in it. People who consistently came. Then you have, like, the starring cast members who like appearing in everything, even though their characters aren't that big. Like, Ian Glenn is Jorah Mormont, who actually has interesting things to say about being on, he's an experienced actor, being on set, learning stunts, even if he's not in every storyline or didn't, serve Friend Zone, didn't do that much this year. He has intelligent things to say, and he just is willing to come to every public event. Or, just hit me, dear God, Liam Cunningham, who is an utter collaborator, always willing to, in public interviews as you ambush him, defend Benioff and Weiss and defending Season 8, he did not record a commentary track this year. That even in the crap seasons, like Season 7, he was willing to be, hey, I'm the jovial, like that warm uncle routine he does, where you aren't articulating defenses of how this storyline makes sense. You're just being your curmudgeon-y, lovable guy. And when you see in every news blurb now and again, Liam Cunningham defends season, it's because people ambush him with that defense at things. Whenever they had to, like, promote DVD releases, he would come to them through Season 7. That even Liam Cunningham, someone who was really on board with Benioff and Weiss, or Maisie Williams, were not recording this. Who did we actually get in terms of cast and crew? Here's a breakdown. Because there's only 6 episodes. Episode 1, Dave Hill, who wrote that episode, and Deborah Riley, the production designer. They are good commentaries in terms of the crew, though. In terms of the people who physically build the props. And the episode, but they're not like cast members who really feel used by them. Episode 2, you have Brian Cogman, who wrote that, and of course Daniel Portman, who again is not a big actor, who just likes doing commentary. Episode 3, we have director Miguel Sapochnik, Sean Savage, their cameraman, and Fabian Wagner, the lighting guy, the director of photography. And before you blame him for stuff, I said in another video, they ordered him to make the light that way. That wasn't his choice. Benioff and Weiss specified this is what it's visually supposed to look like, and he did what they told him. So don't blame the messenger on that. He's doing his job. But, like, remember when they did Battle of the Bastards and they had, like, multiple commentary tracks by different people and, like, the actors involved? There isn't stuff with the actors in that. It's just the director. Then, last of the Starks, they've got Natalie Emanuel, who's Missandei, Jacob Anderson, who's Grey Worm, and Palu Asbeck, who's Euron Greyjoy, as long as one of the other directors of photography. And for episode 5, the Bells, Sapochnik again, Wagner, and Conleth Hill. And then the finale commentaries, Emilia Clarke, along with Benioff and Weiss. So, in terms of the cast who came back, the only core 7 member that came back is Emilia Clarke. And then almost no one else. Just Conleth Hill as Varys, Missandei and Grey Worm and Euron, and Podrick Payne. That's it. Like, Gwendolyn Christie, Brienne of Tarth, or McGann, the Sandor Clegane actor, did not come for this. Like, or Isaac Hempstead Wright, who plays Bran the King. So many people that used to record commentaries on this. Some people never did, I understand that, but noticeably people who are willing to do commentaries even in the terrible years like 5, 6, and 7, they're not here anymore. And the sum total, the summation of all this is, yeah, now I see why HBO didn't announce who was in it until a matter of days before its street date. That people pre-ordered this months ago, weeks ago, without even knowing specifically what commentary tracks are in it. And yeah, other years HBO would announce these specific details of who's doing which commentary months or weeks in advance. This is why we found out, today is Wednesday. This is 5 days before its street date. Admitting, oh yeah, almost none of the core cast wanted to come back to do commentaries. So that's the sole purpose of this video, just telling you so we can have a good laugh and talk about in the comments section of, I don't really think the actors are defending them anymore. A lot of people were, there are other special features in it that, like the Duty is the Death of Love thing, which is basically an outsized version of an inside the episode. And you can tell from their clothing it was filmed the same day. It was filmed around the same time the inside the episodes were, but those were all filmed before season 8 aired, obviously, because we were seeing them 1 week at a time. So while these actors, like, there is behind the scenes stuff with Kit Harington, they're things he filmed before season 8 aired. You can tell because they're from the same batch of interviews we know when they were filmed. But in terms of these commentaries when they were filmed, different ones refer to how great that Chernobyl show was that started airing the week after Game of Thrones finale. So we were pretty sure they were recorded around June-ish in that region. It was soon after the finale, but they refer to Chernobyl in it. So pretty soon after that. I mean, before the Emmy Awards, obviously, around June in that summer, before it really sank into them, this is a terrible season. Because Emilia Clarke is, like, really enthusiastic in it, in a way that she's not in public anymore. You know, the best season ever stuff, it's weird. And the annoying thing is, like, I'm going to handle this separately. This is just an announcement of who's in them now that we know. I'm going to review them all in terms of just how insulting Benioff and Weiss are in theirs. They're goofing around, they're making stupid jokes at Kit Harington's expense, and Kit Harington wasn't there to record with them in June, because as we publicly know, he was in rehab at the time, because of for alcohol, for all of the stress on him of going through this huge production, and the filming it, and the weight of the media pressure, that I don't think he physically could come to film these. And they aren't, like, showing solidarity with him or he's their friend. They're just joking around, taunting, he's shorter than me. And because Benioff has a massive chip on his shoulder. So almost no one came back for these commentaries. And it shows, and you could have at least had the courage to admit it weeks ago instead of springing out on us now. That, will people who pre-ordered it feel betrayed? Tell me if anyone pre-ordered it, I don't know. Actually, these are the 6 current, the top commentaries, that they actually have 10 of these. That there's 4 additional commentary tracks, but they're all by, like, cameramen and stuntmen, which are interesting. I value that they would take the time to do that. None of them have cast members in them, though, so except for some reason, the Long Night one has a secondary track on it, which is a commentary by the stunt coordinator and the Beric Dondarrion actor, Richard Dormer. Which, okay, but he isn't, like, a big draw. Buy this to hear Richard Dormer giving his thoughts, and that's something. So add him to the end of the list of people who actually came back for this. And it was jarring seeing how few people were willing to come to this when they're like, it's a triumph of television, build up of 10 years, and it felt like everyone's running out the door. They know what this is. They know to flee a sinking ship. That this is not the best set they ever put out. And the stupid thing is when you look at all the collaborators on, like, WatchersOnTheWall.com, where they practically work for HBO, like Sue Miller, desperately trying to hype. In her report, she actually said, quote, screenshot it here, wow, HBO really pulled out all the stops on this one to make it the best ever. And I know you don't respect me, Sue, but respect yourself. Look at how few features are in. It's like season 7. They had quite a few special features. They had that little animated mini-movie for The Conquest, which was exciting. They gave it a limited screening. This year, we only had 30 minutes of the histories and lore videos instead of we normally got, like, at least an hour. They weren't very good. I'm going to make a separate video on that. I'm saying it now that maybe they didn't make that many because so few cast members are willing to return for them. I'm not sure. More likely that they couldn't think of stuff to talk about, but there are noticeably sparse special features in Season 8. It is because it's a bundle of all 8 seasons, of course. There are like 15 hours worth of extras from prior seasons, which if you didn't get before, I guess would be a pretty good deal. But in terms of new stuff for Season 8 as a standalone, which eventually people will buy once they split it up season by season, not as this bundle, this is a pretty sparse. I mean, the cast reunion is 2 hours. The Last Watch documentary shouldn't count because you put that on your streaming service months ago. And there's two other things that are sort of like inside the episode, so that's an hour of content. There's like 3 hours of documentaries, half an hour of histories and lore, which isn't good, and 10 commentary tracks featuring a small fraction of, excluding most of the regular cast, Maisie, Sophie, Kit, Peter Dinklage, Lena Headey, and Nikolai Coster-Waldau. They are not in this. Gwen Christie is in this. People who used to like doing this are not here. And I applaud that, given how they undercut their characters, like Natalie Emanuel and Jacob Anderson should have come to this representation. I guess Emilia Clarke, I don't know how to feel about Emilia Clarke, because she's actually laughing through the whole thing. I don't think the reality set in. The only reason I'm not mad at her is because I've seen later interviews where she is not having a good time. But this is just to let you know, wow, you've really humiliated yourselves, that this is not a good set of special features relative to even season 7. The big news is just, wow, noticeably most of the starring cast and core cast abandoned them for this.